Right on.
Shot these 200-year-old oak trees.
Wow. Good to
Hello
see
there.
you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Can you use some coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. What do you like it in?
Whatever.
Like in everything.
Cream.
Don't have any LSD.
That's okay. We'll do that some other time.
The old days.
Yeah. Where do you work?
It was upstairs.
Oh, okay.
This is my partner. We've been together almost 16 years. Basically, I've been in the same apartment in New York for like 55 years. So it's so nuts in New York. I'm not really missing it. And I miss the museums. What's your name? Hello. Clark V. Fox, artist in residence. So we were Cherokees in Powhatan. And my father, they both, my mother's family escaped from the Trail of Tears and passed themselves off as French, but everybody knew they were Indians. And my father's family, they went down to Mexico, and then it became Texas. And my great-grandmother was born in Mississippi, and my grandfather on my mother's side was born 2 years before Custer died in Missouri. And they're both really super smart, but just really screwed up from being some low self-esteem. So I got an Indian profile, but I got like an albino skin. And so these guys, I'll be getting a little attitude, and they say, hey man, you into rap? And then I go, when the la-la hit you, lyrics just split you. Hit so hard that your hat can't fit you. Either I'm with you or against you. For my adventure back through that maze I sent you. Talking to the rap inventor, nigga with the game type. Fifth of that flame right, spell my name right. Sipping on booze in the house of blues. I'm going back to Cali. They're rolling on the floor. They go, oh man. So weird. And then the Indian, I studied with a medicine man out in Little Crow, who was his great-grandfather was the Little Crow, the Lincoln thing. Like all my Lincoln pictures are have to do with the 38 guys that got hanged on Christmas Day or the day after out there. And so I studied that. And then my crazy brother, he got me in Santeria. My life has been so weird because I got the spirit of El Legua and Shango, because I'm living the dream. And then I quit drinking. I almost have 46 years that I haven't had a drink. And I just do service, help people. I never got into making the money thing because more money, more problems. So I'm working on a series. That's for, I went to high school in Alexandria, Virginia, and it was a hometown of George Washington. And you can get the one on the left, pull that one on the far left. Yeah, see what the other one behind that is. And then there's one behind that. I haven't done the eyes on them. I just hand paint them. Well, no, those are actually what I've been working with the same silkscreen printer since 1982. If you hold $1 up to that, it's different. I drew that. That was it's a silkscreen, but it's really my drawing. Yeah, I'm gonna have a big wall. Yeah, but I also do. I started out as abstract. Okay, this is the stuff that I got really well known for, and I'm considered one of the last of the real color painters at a young age, blah blah blah. And I ended up I painted for a couple of these dudes, and one of them, they had this conceptual guy wanted to do this thing where they were going to kill the Washington Color School. So they were trying to get these students to paint. This guy, Gene Davis, did these stripe paintings. So anyway, they couldn't do it, so they called me, so I come in. So I painted 9 days. I painted 50 stripe paintings, exact duplicates, 6 feet by 6 feet. I think they said 6 or 7 of them were in famous museums like the Whitney and stuff like that. I got $300. They were selling for like $40,000, and so it's kind of wild. It's like, so they were all screwballs, and I was like, I'm kind of pissed by the end of the project. And so 40 years later, I got two cards from the Whitney Museum that are with like a lifetime memberships. So I finally get my payday. And so anyway, I ended up with the stripes. I was doing that. This is a silk screen. But I did a paint. I did about 200 of those, and then the art world, as you well know, it goes up and down, and all of a sudden it went down, and so I switched over. When I show you the book, my different style. It's one of my favorite George Washingtons right there.
Is this something that you like? You're gonna keep, or this is just from another period?
Well, let me tell you, Greg. You know that book?
Yeah.
Everything in that book I own. I hung out with Roy Lichtenstein, the pop artist, a little.
Yeah.
And I said, "What do you have any regrets?" And he said, "I should have kept my best stuff."
Right.
And
so, are you going to be selling that now?
well, I wish one guy would buy them and do a museum. But I think what I'm going to have is in between these is going to be abstracts. So I want to hang them all in a row. Like, yeah, and it'll have abstracts in between. See, here's one that's got the face painted. Some of them they have completely all like little dots on them. This one I actually did a wash over it.
So you don't do that to everything?
Yeah, everything is like whatever you kind of feel like, like it's just letting the, being on top.
This is the layer.
Here's El Studio.
El Studio. Cool.
And like
Here's
here,
$100,000.
oh yeah, yeah. I just say that the people that are going to dig my work, they haven't even been born yet. See, I work on everything all the.
Right.
Now, see, here's these abstracts. There's the Kennedy. I did.
You calling?
No, here's the abstracts. Now, this was where I was at the White House a month before Kennedy got blown away, and so I always got he was like right there, and I was right here. So I was always like, for 50 years, I wondered who killed Kennedy. And it comes out Johnson, and a couple of agencies and stuff. Here's the abstracts. Well, this is Mr. Peanut. I got sort of political because I use Mr. Peanut as kind of like the Mad Hatter on Alice in Wonderland. So Kennedy was the last president to wear a top hat at his inauguration. So look, check this out. These are small ones, like there's a lot of the big ones are up in New York.
Right.
Now I got to show you something that I just found on the internet last night by accident. Check this out. We're talking Inca. Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of them.
How long ago before you even knew what was?
This is the first time. Pretty crazy, eh?
How many shows are you getting ready for?
Well, I have one show with some. This guy's going to try to do this thing. It'll be a show at a Grand Central Station with some mostly famous street artists and me, and we're supposed to be decorating an Amtrak. Oh, here's this book. This is a 270-page book. I'll give you a copy of this. since George Washington was from D.C., down to D.C., I've done all these, it's sort of a bizarre obsession.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these paintings, they all have stories. Like that was I ran into this woman whose husband was the ambassador to Belgrade, Yugoslavia. And this painting was hanging in their embassy. And she said, we stood in front of this painting and drank champagne on July 4th, 1976. They wanted me to do a car. So it was a takeoff on the paint. It's a Cadillac.
On the stripes.
Yeah, I got all these wild stories. I was helping this one alcoholic guy, and then he went back to. He fell off the wagon, and he went back to London, and he kind of gave me this car. This billionaire museum person called me up and said, "Hey, Clark, did you paint a car?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. What do I do?" She said, "Well, find the car, and we'll buy it, and then you paint it." So I guess the street value on that of $7,000 or $8,000. And I sold the painting for I sold the car for like $45,000. I didn't even have to paint it, hand paint it. It's like just like NASCAR things. But it's done. It's totally professional. And here's what I wanted to show you. For the 50 small ones that I did.
Right.
I didn't show all 50 of them,
But those were the ones you cranked out.
Yeah, those are the ones that took me months to paint.
I love it.
Yeah. But what I find with a lot of abstraction is that they've lost the soul in art. I don't understand that. Except, the CIA pushed abstract expressionism, which looks like it has soul, but does it? I don't know. I mean, and so then they built this whole thing. They must have spent $200,000 on doing this show.
Wow. And none of these got sold or gave money to you?
I own all of this stuff.
You own all it still?
Yeah.
And you're looking at having somebody just drop it.
Well, I wish there is a gallery outside of D.C., a museum. They could afford it, but they're all into the stock market. 300 oranges. This is where I did my meditations. I painted these. And now they're like all the backgrounds are kind of every style of art known to man. Here's the Lincoln, 38 Lincolns. It's kind of wild. And Lincoln was, I really almost think that it's almost like the Charlie Kirk thing. I think the British knocked off Lincoln. Here's George Bush. That was before the Trade Center fell down. And I did the portrait from a photograph of him on the front page of the New York Times. And then one of the shows I was in, they said, "Can you paint Obama?" Oh, okay. So I painted Obama. And then there's my medicine man guy right there. See, then I did these. These are my shrines. They're like kind of two-sided. You can hang them. Here's the one. There's me. I'm really what do they call it? Autodactyl. I taught myself how to do art. The guards at the National Gallery voted me as the only person that could really do Rembrandt. So I can actually paint that. So here's that's the one I did, the 50 paintings. And this one, that was hanging in the Washington Post. You can see it in the movie All the President's Men, in the most climatic scene of that film. Just kind of wild. That's a lithograph. And this is my early, when I went from the abstracts. That's where I got the Mondrian kind of thing going, but I kind of...
Wide windows.
Well, it's partly voyeur, sort of a voyeur thing. Of course, you don't see anything. But, you got to have some mystery. I got into a show. I illustrated a book for the Smithsonian. I was doing abstracts like this, and that painting's now hanging in the Whitney. So I did these. These are my... but this was like kind of flashbacks from previous life type stuff. I could have been in the most famous movie that Andy Warhol made, Chelsea Girls, but I had this girlfriend that worked for Andy. And in 1966, I saw the Velvet Underground at the Dome. He was madly in love with me. Well, he was madly in love with anybody with a pair of pants on. His whole scene was a bunch of gay speed freaks. And I was at this party that he had, and I had a couple of drinks, and somebody said, they want to calm me down, so they gave me some pill, and I thought I was going to rock. I must have been a downer. Well, anyway, long story short, I said, if I make it through tonight, I'll never do anything unless it's prescription drugs. And yeah, that's saying Andy Warhol saved my life. So anyway, she said, Andy, he's so wild about you. But he wouldn't like you to be in a movie, but would you like take off your clothes and jump in bed with some people? And I was like, I'm from Texas. I don't quite roll that way, thank you. And so everybody hung out with him. That guy was like Dracula. And it was funny because Kathy, she had a painting. She did all this work for him. And I'd go to her house and she had all these little paintings on the wall. And she'd go, Andy, I need money. My parents were from Sicily. They're real poor and everything. And she goes, Kathy, I'm kind of broke right now. Couldn't you take another painting, please? So she goes. So anyway, she's walking around 14th Street one day, and she runs into Andy years later, and he says, Kathy, hey, I have something for you. Come over to my office. So she goes over there. He gave her this self-portrait about like this big, like that. It went to auction like about 10 years ago. She got $4 million. Yeah. So when you help somebody, you never know what the karma's going to end up. Oh, there's that one. And I actually had this whole big wad of tape, like I guess there were 4 of them to do all these paintings. And this crazy guy, Douglas Davis, he passed away. He was a real nut. He put it in a plexiglass box and had a thing, and he died. He sold his painting, and he sold the sculpture. I'm trying to track it down because it's like a sculpture, basically the tape, and it's got like on 2 sides of the tape, one of this color. So it's actually like a sculpture. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to find that. And here's these things.
When was this book put out?
About 3 years ago. And it was actually, Banksy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the guy, I had this guy, he started doing these shows. I showed Shepherd Ferry really early. I didn't show Banksy. I showed all these guys, famous graffiti artists. Well, he didn't go to college. Roger Gassman, he's like he did the big show for Jeffrey Deitch. He's the foremost expert on all that stuff, and he credits me and Jeffrey Deitch for putting him on the map. Roger Gassman. He did the book. Where's his name? There it is right there. I don't know. I'm not, most of the people that have been able to afford my work went to Harvard and Yale or something. I have a painting in the Yale collection. Here's some recent, this is some recent one. Well, that's from about 8 years ago. I did some big ones. There's another one. But then here's the stuff that I wrote. Now see, this goes back, I like, what's his name? That Russian guy, can't think, Malevich. And then, but these things are pretty good, I gotta admit, because that's a big one. And so I was doing these for, I did some shows, and then all of a sudden it's just like the wind stops blowing. And so I moved on to another one of my modes. But, I'm not going to, this was a lot of, I hate to say art is fun, but I really enjoy making beautiful things. And the whole art thing with the Clement Greenberg, it's like art's got to be ugly. And most of it is pretty, foul. They say now it's coming back, like with Jeff Koons. Greenberg said it was all figurative art was kitsch. And then, but Coons is just totally kitsch. He's just taking tchotchkes and blowing them up. Well, you know, it's nice that some artists are making as much money as quarterbacks in the NFL. Oh, this one, that's a thing. That one's in the Metric collection. Made $100,000 for an art organization, which I did for free. There's 100 of those floating around. And yeah, the artists are really like, you know, slaves. And it's almost like we've lost our path. That all they can think about now is war, how to settle anything. And the reservations, all they can do is wait for their welfare check. They're living on welfare. They aren't being treated much better than the people in Gaza. It's really weird. It's really sad. So then how I got into this was that, you know, the French actually France went broke helping George Washington, and then they got the French Revolution. And George Washington was a revolutionary, and I think Americans have built on the revolution. This one was, this one ended up, I'm on the cover, it's in the books laying around here somewhere. I'm really on the cover of this, the history of Washington art from 1900. George Washington, his name was Konotokris, and his father, he's junior, and it means the land taker, the village taker. He was buying up everything he could get his hands on. He was probably the richest president in the United States, is what they say. See, some of these I can get they're really wild. So we got squares even going back to the 60s. There's a sort of a Liechtenstein-esque. That was blown up from an article in the Washington Post, like it was about this big, and I blew the Ben-Day dots up on both of those. And then here's I would be considered a hostile Indian. That was a Presidente de Mexico, Juarez. He didn't even learn Spanish till he was like 20. And then that's, what's his name, White Cloud. And there's a Vietnam War painting. That's from the 70s. That's from the mid-70s. Yeah, I'm kind of an anti-war person. This is a real beauty. That was a hang around the Fort Indian, which was the last gold dollar coin. And then that's like a Cheyenne. That's outside of the Fort Indian. Oh, and here's the chief. There's a lot of the stuff with him. That's Geronimo. Before, after. That's a pretty recent painting. He got drunk and fell off his horse. This one. That's a Cherokee chief from the 1700s. That's what happened is I went to this seance, and it was in a pitch black room, and I get this message from this guy called the Running Fox. And so when the thing came up, it was over. It's totally black. I was like, shut your mouth, please get as black as this room. The two women were with us. I said, Clark, when you got your reading, there was a blue light around you. I go, really? And the message was from the Running Fox. The next day, just a coincidence, I went to the National Gallery. I go into this one room, and it's like a painting of Running Fox on a horse. There was two other Michael Clarks in England that were quite famous, so it was time to change my name, because at that time I was just going by the name Clark. This is the guy that I'm kind of doing all my stuff through. And the reading said, you're doing the right thing. That's a guy on the cornbread box. This was on the can of beer called Crazy Horse Malt Liquor. But his real name wasn't Crazy Horse. It was his horse is crazy, and he was junior. They get it all screwed up. And then that's the German thing. That was on every German belt buckle. Gott mit uns. God is with us. So, and then the Indian motorcycle. But you know, they only wiped out 90% of the Indians in the United States. I'm not resentful. Shit happens when you're making other plans. God, gold, oil, drugs. That's what's happened today. That was from an Islamic mosque in Isfahan, Iran, or Persia. And then that's from the Kabul, when we lost the war in Kabul, another lost war by the United States. We gave them, what, 90 million? Oh, this was the movie, that's quoting Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. I'll fuck anything. Which Dennis Hopper did. Empire. So what happened is a lot of these shows, when I go in to see an abstract show, I'm more interested in seeing who owns the thing than the painting, because there's nothing hanging on the wall, basically. Nothing. It's more interesting who bought it. Yeah, who would Jesus bomb? That's a good question, isn't it? Those are all the guys that got shot. That I painted before the Trade Center came down, and now it's kind of looking a little fishy. This guy was basically pretty left-wing. Got McKinley. He got shot, killed. Went to the World's Fair and got shot by an anarchist. And this was me in Shepherd Ferry. There's me now. There's me at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, France, in the mid-70s. There's me in my New York studio. Now here's the thing. Here's where I got the first bag of oranges in Los Angeles. And that's from Corpus Christi. That was the last before we moved to Washington. So I have a connection with George Surratt too. I have a lot of Surratt coincidences. That's a Rolls Royce.
That's a lifetime painting.
Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. A lot of stuff's been stolen or disappeared. Did you ever meet the John guy that had the painting?
Oh, the owner?
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I got him a
John Pope. You know, he was.
He was awesome.
He went to that little liberal school up in Vermont, Bennington, and they say it's built on an Indian graveyard. And people tell me everybody that's gone there is insane. And I've met all these Bennington people that got screws loose. Well, John, he had a gallery called the Zego One, which was backed by David Lee Roth, and he had all these people, Dan Blocker's son, and he just marijuanaed his way into non-existence. Hey, wow, Suzanne. Oh my God. You know, a lot of these things I don't remember, but I didn't remember it looked like that. Wow, look at that. I didn't even know the thing was on canvas.
So I
Wow.
bought this for $750 at the zero. And my sculpture was there, got stolen. I bet you need to get paid for
Incredible.
this.
Can't get my jaw off the ground. My stuff is like I'm the art prophet of wow. Because I've had a lot of like people that are really scholars. If they come to my place, they're like, "Whoa, how do you do that? You know, how did you get here? Like, there's nobody that's got this kind of thing." And I said, "Well, I spent millions of hours staring at masterworks, and it's like I don't know. It could be irrelevant in a way, but it's the way I float." I mean, it really has kind of gone out of control. I mean, we're living in the future right now. It's kind of weird. I just tell everybody to, whatever you're doing, try to get documentation. And you got your films. I'm just trying to live every day like it could be the last, you know, just enjoy it. Even in the Bible, Jesus tells people you're supposed to be happy. So I'm going to put my thing into my art. And that's probably so good that they're my children. I mean, the people that do get my stuff are like, they say like, you almost have to be with the stuff for a while. A lot of people have it in the bedroom and they're looking at them all the time. But it gives off an energy. My energy, I put into pictures. It's, when you look back at all the great artists and the stuff that they don't even know who did it, it's really better than most of the stuff by name people. That's what I use the high bar. Go for the high bar. Halloween cards. Here's a finished one. Well, I have so many of these. These are what I call my paper dolls. I can either send you one or give you one now. Okay, I'll make it. Here's another catalog. So bizarre what what somebody takes when they do a take on you, you know. See, I did a bunch of see the portraits of those women?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a portrait painter. Now those, my postcard stuff, the National Gallery was doing an interview with these collectors that gave 5,500 original works to the National Gallery. They were one of my best friends in the 70s when I was in New York all the time. So, Herb and Dorothy Vogel. Well, anyway, long story short, they mentioned all these big name people and me. And so it's only about a 3-minute kind of thing. But they said, "Are you still getting any art from any of your collectors?" Because all this stuff is in all these cards are in the National Gallery. And Dorothy laughed and said, "Yeah, Art Fox, we've got 100 of them." Because I've been sending them cards since 1971. So, you know, it's really, so this stuff is very significant. I can only do about 2 of them a day. It's sort of better than watching the nightly news. Well, here's the Coney Island guy. I'll try to speed it up. I know. That's the ticket.
Do you have like process that you just go for it?
Well, part of the thing is that like I haven't done a lot of the squares for most of the summer. I just kind of like I'm working on this one right now, and
The underneath one.
Yeah, I usually don't work quite like this, but you can see how
Sure.
it's developing.
Yeah.
And this one I'm hand painting it, so it takes a lot longer to do the tape stuff.
Oh, I see. You tape it off, paint it.
But this is probably not going to be taped. I could tape it, but you have to keep painting till you get it like dude, that one's done, that's done. I'm getting worn out and uninspired, so it makes me go work on something else. And then that's how I can keep it fresh. Like I've been working on a bunch of Georges, and see, there's a pile right there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy cow, dude. I didn't even see that. These
Yeah.
are all Georges.
Yeah, those are all kinds. There's some peanuts or some. That's wild. Well, there's some empty ones. Yeah, there's some. Yeah.
I'm not, it's almost. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I kind of feel, in a funny way, it gets a little crazy. Just a lot of them, they take a while. Well, that takes a long time. Now that's hand painted. And then I got to paint in the eyes. I paint in, like I put the blue in the eyes. Now that one has all like the little yellow and red dots on it. This one over here.
Yeah.
So there's dots on top of the dots to give it more color in this face. Took me 24 hours to paint one. But I get a lot. I used to just live for the openings and talking to people. And the thing is, I send to the friend, my lessons, they open their mailbox and everything like this, and then they open it up and it's like, so that's, and it's sometimes I don't even hear that, but it's like, it's like if you're a priest and you're doing the mass in Latin. So there we go. And then for these, let's see if I can find my roll of tape. So to do this, there it is. Sort of like forms of surrealism where you're not thinking, you're just doing. That will work. And this will go with your one I'm giving you. Yeah. So there we go, we finished one.
What would you tell your younger self?
I could have gone to Yale. Famous artists wanted me, you're the man, come up to Yale and paint for me. Al Hill. And I was into Mao Zedong. And so it was like, no, I'm out working the field, the rice paddies. So if I wanted to have a family, a station wagon, and a crummy babysitting job as an art teacher in a university, you could have gone to Yale. So it makes you just wonder, kind of say, wow, it's just so great having you here doing this thing.
Yeah. Well,
you love your art and what you've done, and it's really special.
Oh, thank you. Oh my, what a wow way to meet too. Well, I'm so glad to have that painting back. I mean, I don't know I don't know how to explain what it is about that particular painting. I don't have anything that major else left. Oh, here we go.
What would you tell artists? What would you tell somebody that is thinking about doing what you're doing?
I think the best thing to do is try to, like I work with a Japanese master that didn't even hardly speak English. That was the bug that got me going. I tell people get a work in a studio. But, you know, I think you just have to be true to yourself. It's just, and then you just have the higher powers of helping you.